Okay, group, Friday afternoon, time for another, as I often call, installment of the post-university amateur hour here, and some things I wanted to talk about today uh, regarding last week's material from the videos, which I really was pleased to see what we got for responses from people this week. The comment that the videos were all over the lot. This is exactly what I wanted to get out of people. A little bit to stimulate your thinking and to work on the idea of the systems thinking, the design thinking, and in many respects, what's creativity, what's innovation, how does this help you develop a competitive edge, and what does this mean to business as you go forward and grow and prosper, or maybe fight off decline or handle maturity. All these kind of things are stuff that we really need people to work with. So this is what I was really hoping to get out of it. The opening comments are really great. The discussion board has been lively, it has been fun, I've enjoyed it, and keep it up. Now, what I wanted to address was that strange, what you may have think is a strange assignment that I gave you. The strange assignment was suddenly, after telling you that there were weeks and weeks and weeks of making something work, now I'm asking you to write a long memo saying why it won't work? Am I crazy? Am I asking you to do something that's absolutely insane? I don't think so, and I'm waited right now until this point in the project to introduce this whole idea. And the idea that I want, let's see if I can get this focused on something you can see over here. But here's a concept I want to introduce right now. And use this frequently in consulting. And the whole idea is called, I hope you can read this, creative destruction. Process creative destruction. And what do I mean by that? Well, one of the things we use in strategic planning frequently is coming to a business that has an established idea, an established product, an established model. We sometimes get complacent. Or sometimes what we do is get intellectually and married to that model. I mean, this is what we love, we're ready to do this, and we're going to keep doing it as long as we can. Well, this is both good and bad. But one of the things it can lead to is we forget that, every day somebody is out there trying to eat our lunch. Somebody is out there trying to get better than we are. So the whole idea of creative destruction is to urge a company to go ahead and ask itself very critically to do a couple of things. And what we do is we ask companies to do this. We ask the executive group involved in strategic planning to prepare a statement along these lines. And here's the scenario I give. Let's say it's, today's date is April 16, 2010. It's April 16, 2012. Your fiercest competitor has just implemented a strategy that was so good, so powerful, so innovative, so different, that it put you out of business. Knocked you right out of the water. You are gone. Describe what they did, how they did it, and how they caught you so off guard. Now, once we give people that scenario, we send them away, maybe for a week, to go out and answer that question. But what they're really answering is, what kind of company could put us out of business? And then we pull ourselves back together and say, okay, how do we become that company? How do we put the old company out of business and replace it with this new thing that could do us in? Because remember, one of the ultimate measures of success in any kind of business is if you're here tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. Well, somebody else is always trying to win. It's a game that somebody else is always trying to win. And they're trying to take your customers. They're trying, as Michael Porter said, to compete for your profits. You have to consider what everybody else is doing. If you can describe the company that puts you out of business, haven't you described the company that you want to become? Haven't you described that desired state that can take you to a new level of success and profitability? I think you have. So it's a very, very profitable tool. So really, in a sense, that's what I've asked you to do in the memo assignment, the devil's advocate, to go in and take this project that you've been working on for 6 weeks now to make it work, and I'm asking you to go and say, why won't it work? Tell me why it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Because that's just going to test your project. And the reason I waited until now to introduce this to you is quite simply, you needed to have a fully developed idea and model that you could test. If we'd done this really early on, you wouldn't have anything to apply the test to. It reminds me very strongly of some things we do very earlier on in, say, the Management 221 course, which is entrepreneurship and creativity. And of course, people in there developing business plans. And one of the things that people do in developing business plans all the time is we tell them to do research. We tell them to do research, market research, demographic research, research on your industry, technology research. But what I frequently find is what people try to do is they do research that tends to validate their idea, not test their idea. And as soon as the research tends to show something that maybe this isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread, it goes away. We're not going to take that research into account. I don't want to hear that. You know, how many of us go up to somebody and have a piece of paper in our hand, something we've just done at work, stuff I've done here at school, and say, here, take a look at this. What do you think of this? What do you really want to hear? Oh, gee, Tom, that's the greatest thing I've seen in a long time. This is really wonderful. I really don't want to hear somebody say, gee, that's lousy. Go back and do it again. Or was this really the best idea you've ever had? So this whole idea of creative destruction is to try and get ourselves in the mood of painting the picture of what a better us could be, and then getting there. So another little trade secret I can give you is we in the academic profession and in the consulting field are very skilled at taking the relatively simple and making it extremely complex. I think it's something we do for self-preservation, but we do that. We try to make it as complicated as we can be, so therefore you probably need us to explain it. This is not a good thing. But one of the things that I would try to say to people, strategic planning has this aura about it being this great art. Well, no, it's not. It's really simple. It's not easy, but it's really simple. And another way of looking at this is to ask yourself, can I do strategic planning in 3 simple questions? And I think you can. And I'll give them to you right now. First question is, what do you want? Pretty simple, right? What do you want? Second question, why do you want it? And then the third question is, why don't we have it yet? What do we need to do to get it? And if you can answer the first 2, the third one becomes pretty easy because it describes the obstacles and the tasks you need to overcome and the tasks you need to perform in order to complete your strategic plan. The first 2 are very hard. What do I want? Why do I want it? But if you've mastered those 2 questions and you've got it down and you can answer those with some certainty, then you can go forward and fill in the blanks in question 3. Very similar to creative destruction. Very similar to what I'm asking you to do with the memo of being the devil's advocate and challenging all the things that you've worked on in your project. So I hope, again, this has made some sense to you and it has provided you with a little different twist on the whole idea of strategy. Keep working on that project, on the 2 then. The project to make it work, and then that career-changing memo, right? The one where you've got to go on and take on the conventional wisdom that we're going to make this work. Because face it, if your memo is not very persuasive and not very well founded and not very well researched and not very well done, you're probably fired. But if it is really well done and correct and persuasive and saves the company from making the biggest mistake in its existence, you're probably not fired. You're probably promoted to CEO and are now the king forever. So look at it that way. That's how critical a document I want it to be. I'm asking you to be the devil's advocate. So please work with the project normally, work with the written assignment, refer to the writing standards that I put in so you know what it is I want written. take to heart my idea of creative destruction and apply that as you come into the home stretch here of completing your projects. And as usual, if there's any questions or anything I can be of service to you, answers, guidance, reviews, anything like that, please don't hesitate to contact me. Okay? Thanks very much. Good afternoon.